Your foot comes down on a reef and something snaps. A black dot is left buried under the skin, already turning the flesh around it red. Your hand goes straight for the tweezers. That instinct feels obvious. It is also the single worst thing you can do, because what just broke off inside you is not a splinter of wood or a shard of shell. It is a piece of engineering grown by a living animal, and it was built for exactly this moment. What you do in the next 30 seconds decides whether this heals in a week or lives inside your body for the next 8 years. People believe a sea urchin's spine is basically a thorn. Something brittle, something simple, something you flick out and forget. The truth is stranger. A sea urchin's spine is a single, continuous crystal from base to tip, and yet it is shaped like a microscopic skyscraper. It has hollow rooms, radial wedges, helical bridges. The urchin does not grow it slowly, atom by atom, the way a rock forms. It pumps a liquid mineral sludge up to the tip, something scientists call amorphous calcium carbonate, essentially wet concrete made of chalk. Then, within hours, that chaotic liquid snaps into a flawless crystal lattice guided by the shape of the spine underneath it. It is the equivalent of hollowing out a skyscraper from a single flawless diamond, except it happens in cold seawater with no heat, no pressure, no factory at all. That is the weapon that just went into your foot. And here is where the myth really falls apart. You reach for tweezers because pulling something out feels like the obvious fix. But the spine is up to 80% empty space on the inside, a porous scaffolding built to be light, not solid. The moment metal jaws squeeze it sideways, that brittle lattice collapses, the same way a dry, hollow piece of pasta shatters the instant you grip it with pliers. And the outside of the spine is lined with microscopic barbs, all facing backward. As you pull up, those barbs act like biological zip ties gliding in one direction, then locking hard the moment you reverse it. The spine does not slide out clean. It shatters, and the barbs anchor every fragment into the muscle around it. The tweezers come away empty. What is left behind is not one splinter anymore. It is dozens of jagged, barbed shards, scattered too deep and too small to ever dig out again. Some people hear this and reach for the opposite instinct instead. Smash the spine with a shoe, a rock, anything heavy, and let the body absorb the pieces. That is worse. Crushing it deeper only drives barbed shrapnel toward tendons, joints, and nerves, turning a foot puncture into something a surgeon eventually has to cut open. There is one myth left, and it is the most comforting one, which is exactly why it survives. Standard advice says the spine will simply dissolve over a few months, quietly absorbed by the body's own chemistry. For small fragments, sometimes that is true, but doctors have tracked cases where it was not. One documented spine sat lodged in the sole of a 21-year-old's foot for 8 years, checked by X-ray the entire time, and it showed zero absorption, zero dissolving. It just sat there intact, like a piece of rock, for the lifespan of a large dog. Here is what is actually happening underneath the skin while that spine waits. Macrophages, the immune system's cleanup cells, swarm the shards and try to do what they always do, engulf and dissolve. But they are trying to digest solid rock. When a single cell cannot do it, cells start fusing together into giant, multinucleated cells, bathing the shard in weak acid. Trying again. If the shard is too large or reinforced with magnesium, the same way steel gets reinforced with carbon, the acid fails. So the body changes its strategy completely. It stops trying to destroy the invader and starts sealing it away instead, laying down layer after layer of dense scar tissue around it. Doctors call the result a sea urchin granuloma, a hard, painful lump that can rise to the surface months after the original wound seems healed. If it forms near a tendon or a joint, it can lock up motion entirely until someone opens the skin and physically removes what the body could never digest. Your immune system just built a sarcophagus. The same way engineers sealed a melted reactor under concrete because the danger inside could not be destroyed, only contained. Your body walls off what it cannot break down. And that is not unique to sea urchins. It is the exact same mechanism your body uses around a pacemaker wire, an artificial joint, any piece of foreign material it cannot metabolize. So the next time a doctor mentions scar tissue around an implant, you will know what is actually happening in there. A cellular committee meeting in the dark, deciding what your body cannot beat, and quietly building a wall around it instead. What else might your body be walling off right now, silently, without ever telling you?